Hey there, and welcome to Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Community Race on a Friday night here on Free Enterprise 2 on Twitch. My name is Sheep Launcher. I am here with Deathlike in the group, and Deathlike, this is a Friendsgiving like no others. This time we need 7 additional characters in order to eat all this wonderful stuffing we have prepared. Our runners are going to go on a quest all around the world to try and get all those characters to get the crystal. What are you looking forward to tonight?
Whatever's left of your turkey. That's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah, picking up your characters is this. Hey, we're traveling around the world to pick up every character that we need for objectives, but that also comes with a starting Cecil, and starting Cecil, while welcomed, you might be a little. It's kind of like an early tele. You're not really not gonna expect much until Cecil goes up Mount Ordeals, and with no free characters, who might be there might be a little challenge for whoever he gets as the starting second character. So it will dictate what our runners will kind of route in while trying to complete the seed.
Yeah, the flags here will also dictate a little bit of our runner strategy. Now, you would normally think that lots of Bacchus wine would be really welcome at Friendsgiving. However, it's going to be a little tougher to go with a strictly bruiser party because the back row glitch is not on. So normally in Final Fantasy IV, in the original game, once your character equips a back row weapon, even if they de-equip it later, the game still thinks that they have it equipped and can deal full damage from the back row. That glitch has been removed in this seed. So our runners will actually have to have a bow and arrow or a full moon in order to do full damage from the back row.
Yeah, I think probably will. I will probably see some of these runners, try to aim for some more mage heavy parties, which is a typical thing. And I think we've started, and our starting character is, hey, he'll help. At least I'll try.
So the spoon flag, I don't know if the spoon flag is on
It's on.
or not. Yeah, so that means Edward can equip the most powerful weapon in the game, but just an elixir given to us by a blue robe, and we are glad to have you with us.
This is an interesting where we're going to start. So I think there might be some attempts to get a little loot early. I don't think we're doing a Demon's Hunt, so we probably may have to see hope maybe an early spoon at Troy for the free key item. That will probably be the next thing is to get Edward some weapons, and and maybe get a black sword if we're really desperate. I mean, think some early looting, hoping for something decent. Black sword, assassin dagger, something useful, because I see elements in the inn, so that's gonna be a ton of fun.
That is a heroin robe from Edward in the bed. Absolutely no help to anybody who's currently in the party, although the characters we have to get eventually, somebody will come around that could use that heroin robe, a female character. Do want to thank our tracker Warlink05 and our restreamer Cubs Rule 21 for allowing us to bring this to you. Possumorpheus knows what he has to do and is going straight to Mount Hobbs. He will be the first one to check the character who's available up here.
Well, he found a black sword, so that actually will make things easier. Maybe hoping for a freebie. That's not a freebie, and that's going to be a slog of a fight. DKC will probably do all the work. No dupes, so there will not be a second Edward in the party, and Edward is taking his proverbial daily nap. So, kind of unfortunate, but hey, it's okay. It's okay to start early, taking a nap before your turkey and after your turkey too.
Yeah, so that Black Sword will really help against Demist, but having Cecil all on his lonesome the Demist will really hit hard in that spot. Possum Morpheus decides the juice is not worth the squeeze. Meanwhile, I believe Tall Grant found, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe just lying in Kaipo, he found a white spear. It could have been white arrows, I suppose.
That's unfortunate. I think we have T Pro on, so the loot not as good as we would like in under like say T Wildish. So some high loot dense areas like where Possum is doing the waterway. It's usually pretty good. Ninja Hat will be good for agility manipulation, but not a weapon. So right now, I think we're gonna have to be helping on J items to do a lot of the work right now. I think with the current party composition, unless you're gonna do an actual grind with DKC, which does not seem very appealing. Like think about the party composition and what you're hoping for Edge, but Edge under the current flag set locked away. So if we find the hook early, maybe he'll get it. He might get lucky on Edge, but this is a kind of a strapped team. So I think if we don't find any useful J-Items, we might have some problems here.
So Tall Grant did find in addition to a ninja hat, a mute knife for that Eddie. Still not going to help against Demist when Eddie only has 60 HP. Very squishy there. Meanwhile, Possum Morpheus found a ninja robe in Damsian Basement, and guess what? That automatically makes it a stacked Damsian Basement.
I think I'm just thinking about this. This is going to be a struggle. This is a really early struggle. We'll need to find a very good character, even if it's a Kane. Right now, this is team. What can I do? I think may have to consider doing something like Antlion's Cave early, which Grant is at Calderank and J Brunters deciding that's the thing. And hey, unfortunately, this is not a free karate because. This is not Paladin Cecil. The wake up call only applies for Paladin Cecil, so not entirely free. But at least it is a mute knife doing some work.
Yes, the mute knife is doing work. The good thing about Karate Fight in this spot for this party is Karate Man only does physical attacks, and the physical attack power here not strong at all. So it will be a little bit slow, but these runners should be able to survive this. Considering the only other boss we've seen so far is that Demist up on Hobbs that our runners so far are over 3 on, I think they'll welcome a little bit of a slow but kind of free fight.
I think next place probably to go would be Fabul, and that might be a tanky place. Oh, spicy, but free we'll get a free character from because it's gated. So probably we'll actually consider doing an early moon dive just for the character alone. I think this is. Would you want to still play? You want to still try your hand at Mouter deals with Eddie and DKC? If I was running this, that is definitely not a thing. You need another character to do work with, and
certainly, and that is a gated character that so it could be anyone. Either way, it's going to be an objective. You can check the shop on the moon to make sure you know what's up there. J Brun heading straight to Mysidia. There isn't really a good way to go straight to Mysidia from Antlion Cave, but both J Brun and Possum Morpheus heading there without delay.
Yeah, and just for those who were curious, there was an Edward on Mount Hobbs. When the starting character, even though we have a starting Edward, it does not count against the objective. So you have to actually complete the Mount Hobbs fight with Demist to get the Edward objective completed. That will count, even though we will not pick up a second Edward. So
what if there's a third Edward on the moon? That can happen.
Someone's gonna thank Cubs for rolling the seat. That's a sure thing. There'll be some turkey leg shaking going on.
yeah, that would be the. I think our runners would call that the sweet potatoes of seed rolling. Just absolute garbage.
I think I'm looking for a little more towards mashed potatoes because I like mashed potatoes, and something has to be mashed. That's that thing. I'm not, uh, although at least it won't be cranberry. Was it sauce, jam? That thing. I don't know. What do you? What would be the cranberry jam in for you? Good,
You know,
bad?
it would probably be Rydia just because it's kind of real squishy at this point. Maybe you could beef it up into something later, but look, it's Mr. Average. There is Kane up on the moon.
I think we've found a few good items. So, right, I mean, at least for Jay Brunter, I saw the Ogre Axe. So if that was picked up, that's a possum pick. It's like I need that first. Probably won't be anything in the shop to be able to buy at least immediately. So that might, at least for now, that's not too bad. But I think our runners might still hoping for a Tella. Doing a D machine grind, given the current situation, you find a Tella, D machine grind suddenly becomes on the table. So I think at least for some of them, maybe Tella might not a Tella that shows up might not be thinking. Still need a weapon for Kane. That's probably the first thing if that hasn't been picked up yet.
And that is some moon shop. So you got Bacchus wines, which put your character into Berserk, plus it allows you to say, hey, I'm drinking wine. You have Star Veils, which put up Reflect, very useful, not a tier 5 item that could be gated on the moon shop, but it's always great to have. And then you have an Alarm, which you're definitely going to need after you ingest 4 turkey sandwiches and take a tryptophan nap.
You know what? You know what's on the table hey, how about Eddie strats for Z? Put Eddie to sleep and then wake him up for Z fighting using alarms with the Star Vessel. You pretty much have all the items necessary for a Z fight for that with Edward. That not my first choice, could be on the table for a runner. Although I think there is a button eater that would say no, probably not, but no, there are some runners that would love to try this, especially given the current state of affairs.
Would absolutely love to see it. And speaking of plays that Possum is making, Possum the only one so far, and Tall Grant is following him down, doing the step of looting out Cave Bahamut. I do love this play. On T Pro, the treasures are rated a little bit higher, and he found, in addition to another black sword, a silk web and a black shirt. But the treasures are weighted a little bit higher. You get to see who the boss is. Possum dipped out of there with a quickness, and with this party, you need all the help you can get at this point. So. I do like the play, even though neither Possum Morpheus nor Tall Grant have a source of exit.
This is, it's a nice place to see CPU at this spot with the current strength of the party is a bit still ew. Edward's trying, and unless Kane's got a decent weapon, this might be a while. This is Kane. You have to get rid of the defender because of the healing, and Eddie is trying his best to get rid of it. At least the defender's gone. Although probably might take a permanent nap after enough hits. Beat the Mazer deals only a tenth of the damage, so since it's rounded down, we'll probably take 11 shots and probably I don't think Edward's too long for this world. Just keep Kane up. Kane will do all the work, and you'll be fine. And Possum going for elements, at least, and that is a low HP spot. So with a Q or 3 killing the undead portion of Mylon Z, makes that part that was pretty free.
So Mom Bomb in the second spot. By the way, Porum is the character here. Mom Bomb here is obnoxious. So we're getting a lot of the really rude boss fights visible right away. By the way, did you see who that boss was in Cave Bahamut?
I
That was Evil Wall. And at Cave Bahamut, that is just nasty. So, of course, we're really hoping for a required, I don't know, Earth Crystal behind that.
Sounds like fun. Punchy spot on a spot that isn't even designed for punchy fighters. That's gonna be fun, and seeing a little bit of a struggle with the Mom Bomb fight. That's especially with Mom Bomb with that attack power. It's pretty much gonna one shot, and it looks like Tall Grant with doing Fabul with a kind of semi-free Kelbrenna, although the Blizzard not gonna do so much as we're gonna summon the doll very soon.
Yeah, so if you eliminate all the dolls of one particular color, then the rest of the dolls will transform into the big doll. Tall Grant did get a silence off on one of the dolls, but too late. The big doll had already been summoned, and Tall Grant says, I'll try it again some other time.
I think the thing about Mom Bomb is that it's actually weak to DKC's weaponry. So actually, DKC is doing actual work in that fight. Now, can't really do much about that phase. Probably won't be able to chew down that 9,000 or 10,000 HP. That is a buffer for the exploding phase. So, but hey, it's fine. Edward can take a nap and hoping there's a J item around, because that should take care. Unfortunately, that J item only targeted one because it was used when it was still in Mom Bomb form. So that is unfortunate.
Meanwhile, J-Brun finds the Kaipo guards, the officer-soldier fight on the back of the bridge in Ordeals. This fight going a little bit slower than it could because J-Brun wants to take down that officer with that cane and get all the EXP from this fight. Really help out that Edward. Not doing it for Cecil. Not only is Cecil down, but Cecil resets as soon as you enter the changing room.
At least it's a free fight, so I mean it's fortunate. It's not like it's a back attack Val. That would be something. So, I think with the regards to the dolls, silencing them only affects regular magic, as the formation of the doll is what is considered monster magic, so it doesn't care for mute and wouldn't really wouldn't stop their formation. So that's what makes some bosses tricky, especially when you don't have a ton of JMs, at least especially with the Blizzard, not enough HP on Cecil to do damage, as that is an HP based damaging item.
So Possum does get through that Baron Inn, makes his way through that Mom Bomb, gets Porum, and gets a Cat Claw for his efforts. Of Possum Orpheus, the first runner to get 2 characters so far, and now Possum has a White Mage, and Porum instantly becomes the second best White Mage in his party after Edward throwing Cure 2s.
Probably need some actual muscle. So having Porum while not doing healing duty as much, I'm not so concerned. Sometimes the healing is nice, but sometimes straight up offense, however you can get it, is nice. And finding that the public treasury kind of contained quite a bit of decent weaponry could have been used on Kane. Probably was using the mute knife, and that weapon is a nice weapon, but it's so much nicer on a ninja than it is anyone else, for that matter.
J-Brun recreating bridge on the River Kwai, throwing some soldiers over the bridge, and will be the first to reach the changing room of Ordeals. And remember, our way underground is gated by a hook. No magma key above ground in this flag set. So This party on a hook route, eh, eh, our runners are going to have to get really creative.
Well, if there's a Tella, then D Machine Grind is on the table. If a Tella doesn't show up, what you have to consider a package. So probably there's a free character there. You probably want to take a look at, regardless of how much time it takes. You need the character, as all the objectives are obtaining specific characters. And hey, that's a nice freebie for Jay Brenter.
And King Queen Evelyn in one of the worst spots to find if you're a runner. One of the best spots to find if you're a viewer who likes to see our runners experience pain.
I think there's enough pain just with the starting party and the bosses gating them. So they're slowly at least picking up. That's for sure.
Pain when you're not running the seed really is like leftover green bean casserole. You can never have too much of it.
Is it a thing? Is it a maybe I haven't had enough of it. Is it something?
Casserole?
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's really comforting. Like you literally just follow the directions on the back of a cream of mushroom soup. Like Campbell's literally invented the dish, and now it's part of Thanksgiving. It's a real American success story.
I'll just take more mashed potatoes, please. More of it. And
plus, it's an excuse to just eat crispy onion straws right out of the can.
We can't avoid the double dip of Fabul. Hook is at Fabul, so you have to be here. So, well, at least the doll's not the most threatening, but still, you have to be here. So no chance of trying to single dip Fabul.
That is a Yong from the package. It would be interesting to know if anybody would sit through this package cutscene if Yong was not a required character to get. One of the goals is to get karate, but boy, this is without a really good weapon for Cecil. This hook route's going to be really dicey.
I think here you probably want to do like an Eblin Castle trip, even if the loot isn't good. It's for the XP that your characters really need. Right now we haven't found a Tella yet, and Yang is on the table, so I might have to get levels. I mean, Yang is the punch mage, and you need that punch maging levels. And hey, that was awesome. Swoon, Possum invoked a swoon on Edward. Some might say that's a beautiful thing, because I probably wanted Edward to be the anchor, but I say that was beautiful.
So, as our tracker Warlink 05 is pointing out, the reward from the Baronin is a cat claw, and we have seen Thunder Claws and Ice Claws around. So you get Young a couple of levels, and he can be serviceable, especially against a boss with an elemental weakness. So if the right boss comes along, this Young could be really useful. And the three Magus sisters are the ones invading the Kaipo Inn tonight. Really good place to see the sisters, because they could be deadly in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it was a low HP spot. Edward could have probably one-shot Cindy, but it's fine. Kane is there, although this part might be a little dangerous if ATB gets to Sandy. There's pretty slow slots, so that's fine. Crisis avoided, because if probably Kane gets charmed up, Kane will betray the party pretty willingly at that point.
So, Tallgrand finds Tella in the hook route, which is good news. The bad news is Baigen is waiting in the second spot, and with no Black Mage to deal with him, that's going to be a bit of a rough struggle.
It just means D Machine is literally on the table, and that's going to be the first thing done. So Telegrant is thinking, let me get Cecil online, and get another character, and then do the immediate grind. I don't like right now with the current cast of characters, kind of devoid of levels. You need the levels desperately, and so any play that kind of gets your characters to a decent level. Probably will require a bit of power overwhelming. You probably could try to kind of get away with it with, say, maybe an Evelyn Castle dive for some of the XP from Monster Loot, but with the current cast of characters, I don't see any other way you kind of avoid the D Machine grind.
J-Brunt did take a peek at the bed in Kaipo that for the character that you awaken with the Sand Ruby, or else, the promise of additional dark meat turkey, and I found a duplicate Yang, so the Sand Ruby not really required here.
Well, at least the Sand Ruby will be kind of. You could avoid. Where was Yang at? I'm trying to remember. It was package. Yeah, so the package is practically free. So yeah, well, at least it's then you have an option. They're about the same. I think Sand Ruby's faster, but I think for characters, you kind of want the characters now, and getting the experience now probably makes more sense. We have from all the characters we have. Edward is going to probably just end up being your anchor. Probably you get Cecil, Yang, and Kane, and as your puncher, as your berserkers, and Porum as your healer. Wait, I'm probably going to yeet Edward for Tella, I guess. So because we haven't found a spoon, so those are your choices, and they're not that all appealing.
Tybalt, with a really fortunate find in Castle Eblin, finds a rune axe in a chest, and then in literally the very next chest, finds the Mad Ogre's rune axe is deadly against mage-type enemies, which the Mad Ogres happen to be.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. I think they're probably mages inherited from kind of like old Final Fantasy 1, where they were like wizard ogres, but these Mad Ogres don't cast any spells. They just have incredible amounts of magic defense, and I guess that counts for something. But at least they're giants and mages. So, and that's usually you can get I think I've seen an ogre axe from the public Troya treasury. So that should be more than enough to take on these Mad Ogres.
Yeah, they will punch hard, but it has enough gear on and enough folks in the back row, and like we said, that rune axe will really do some work. That was almost 1,000 damage on a jump from a really underleveled Kane with a rune axe, so really useful here.
I saw a miss from Tybalt's screen from Cecil. That was hitting from the back row, attacking from the back row. That back row glitch, we're used to it in the vanilla game, and it's nice. But when you can't glitch, you see numbers that are not very appealing, and they're not. It's one of those things where you kind of it helps to have a bow and arrow. So even if kind of an emergency case, at least but those arrows are still punching pretty hard. So those are kinds of fights that you're kind of trying to get through, and Tybalt successfully gets through it.
Yeah, he would have rather had Edward alive to accept some of that EXP, but that is another good weapon for Kane. That is a Dragoon Spear.
Kane now is in the driver's seat of Grindmaster. Actually, no. You still need a Kane. you still need to tell. I'm just thinking of the D machine right now, because those D machines have a lot of HP to shoot through. Even if you did quad nines, I think there's a little bit more than that, so it won't be finished in one hit. So but when you're doing the grind with Tella, you don't care for it. You care about one spell, and weak does a lot of work for in many grinding situations.
Hogred taking on a Lilith fight up on Mount Ordeals using, I believe each runner only got one Siren, and using it here, this is by far the best place to use a Siren in the overworld is on Mount Ordeals, because these Liliths have a lot of HP and they're relatively easy to take, or a lot of XP I should say, and they're relatively easy to take down.
I mean, there's a little difficulty given for Intelligent's case, only because no source of like actual magic Tella, while normally useful, not actually contributing, because probably could use fire or cure too, but it's fine. It's not Lilith. The slap's kind of a nuisance, and at least Tella's trying, and he did some work. So, and I just saw Possum using Black Sword to full effect, applying swoon on the officer. So, yeah, those are like the free hits you can do on bosses without the boss bit. And DKC with the Black Sword does lots of work on those type of bosses. But on a lot of other things, like like a Demus, not so much, unfortunately.
So it is always funny to see kind of the translation and the kind of censorship that went on between the Japanese version and the English version of this game, where you have this thing called the Black Sword. It's dipping with darkness, and it applies a status called Swoon. Tybalt made it through the Black Cat Lamia fight and got a ribbon for his efforts there. A really nice Evelyn Castle on T-Pro so far, although Tybalt is looking for a nice Holy Sword to get that Cecil online. Not likely on T-Pro, but it's possible.
I mean, if you get a defense sword, you'd be pretty happy with what you got. You can't. The best of holy swords, Excal, Crystal, are tier 8, and those are not common. Even though in some seeds where we have T Wildish, and every chest you might have a good opportunity to get a crystal sword. So not here, not in this case. But if you it's always worth a gamble, especially like hair dryer's chest is on the table, especially with the early darkness crystal. If you can get that's just as good as any to get a crystal sword. And there have been some races won by the off K-trap chest, just giving you the loot that will speed up your seed. So can't really just can't ignore some of the loot, and especially trap chest loot.
Jay Brunter, I think I'm not telling tales out of school here. One of the preeminent meme champions of the runners of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, and you'll notice that he slept in the king's bed in Fabul, which is something that you very rarely see, because it's almost always you can only access it before you defend Fabul, and when you defend a Fabul, you get a free heal before and after. So it's almost entirely useless, but it does get you a text box, and I just want you to know, Jay Brunter, I see you.
There's no shame in sleeping in the king's bed. It's the free inn you asked for. It's like the dwarf pot. At least the dwarf pot is only accessible in the underground. But hey, I prefer to drink from it. Yeah, don't care what you think. It's moonshine.
It's a power move. Sleeping in the king's bed, like you wouldn't do that if you had the opportunity.
It's has come across my mind. I think there are other power moves bigger than that, but sure, why not? It's there, it's free, although it's kind of out of the way, but I would do it. Hey, there's a white shirt in the last chest, so actually some decent loot, not the loot that that Tipple is looking for, but hey, sound staff, but I think we've seen a life staff earlier, so Porum is pretty set to do what she needs to do.
Yeah, she's set to become the third best white mage in this party.
We're not even looking for Rosa. I think, when I looked over the objective list, like I was like, wait, who are not really looking for? And I think there's only Sid, Rosa, and Fu, and that's about it.
Well, Rosa is one of the objectives. Yeah.
I thought.
I believe it's Sid. Yeah, Rosa was the first kind of person we were looking for, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think this is Rydia, Edward, Porum.
Rydia, okay.
Yeah. So it was. So yeah, there's no Fu.
That'll teach me to stop reading after R.
There's so it's too close. Yeah, if a Fu showed up, and it's not even on the restricted list, that would have been nice, but we're probably not. It's still possible, but right now we're most likely going to get kind of get what we're going to get for the most part, because we're guaranteed all the characters on the list, where they're at might not be appealing. Like, say, the back of Giant, not the most appealing spot, but a spot I think if we can avoid it, we'd probably want to fade it if at all possible. So of all the spots that are on the table, that is probably the most difficult spot to want to go through to complete the objective. So I think that might be on the table unless we do the D machine grind and then just go through it just to pick up the character, because you're already there and you've already gained the levels to make your life easier.
By the way, Mr. D Machine Grind is your answer to everything. Did you see what was for sale in the Evelyn Cave shop?
I think I missed it.
Sirens and Silkwebs.
Oh, well then, I guess we'll grind on our deals then. That's, I guess for now. Maybe if we'll definitely do some scrambled eggs when we get there. But getting the levels to just to do everything else, especially just with the Baigen, no Quake. That is kind of like a sore point even with Berserkers.
Yeah, especially with the back row glitch off, the one arm that Baigen has hanging out in the back takes less damage, and you're more prone to miss it, and that's real annoying.
Yeah, with Berserk, you have no control over which body part you attack. Baigen only recovers his arms when both arms are removed. So if he loses one arm, he doesn't care. It's like kind of like what's the Monty Python joke? It's just a flesh rune. You lose an arm, it's just a flesh rune. That's fine.
So Possum Morpheus going on a world shopping tour found Cure 2s and Illusions in Kaipo, found Cure 3s in Troya, also picking up some other goodies in Troya. That says to me that Possum not entirely thrilled with the white mage choices he has on the table.
Yeah, Porum, I mean, there's a lot of said about Porum not being the best. Still second best white mage. Yeah, but hey, there's not every seed will have a Fu in it. So, but technically third overall for me personally, but still functions pretty well for the most part. Just the only difference is really when it's between the J levels and non-J levels of learning spells, that Porum doesn't get affected by J levels. It's Rosa is the biggest beneficiary. So, Rosa learns all the good spells earlier, and that's why. And with her HP growth is much more of an attractive character to pick up. And the only deficit, that Rose is concerned with is always exit. And when you don't have another source of exit, then the Rosa starts looking like a not as good proposition. But most of the time, you have access to exit. It's always one of those things about having a white mage. He's just having extra berserk and blink, and you usually are pretty set.
Well, Tybalt held out as long as he could, but he finally goes to Fabul, the last of our featured runners to go to Fabul and pick up his hook. And we will see who will be the first brave soul to dive that hook route. Jabron picking up that Tella and telling Young to hit the bricks. The last of our featured runners, Tybalt, is to get the hook. There are 7 runners overall. Just a reminder, if this looks like fun to you, our community races are open to everyone. Your skill level does not matter at all. They even let me play, which is, it shows a lack of foresight on their part. But the community races are free for everybody to join, and they're free to watch, and we're glad to have you with us, along with our tracker Warlake05, our restreamer Cubs Rule 21, and along with my co-commentator Deathlake.
Yeah, there's lots of things about the randomizer, the game, the flag sets. There's just so many things about the randomizer that you could expose so many things that you can't see in vanilla. It's just a lot of fun. You can and questions. There are no bad questions. Sometimes you just don't know the answer. There's so many things, and many people have played this long before the randomizer existed, and still, things you still don't know. There are still mysteries in this randomizer, in this game, that like relative agility. It's the black magic of this game. That's how it's a mystery sometimes. So questions can be answered.
Do you remember the first question you asked on the Discord when you joined up?
I don't actually remember. If you do remember it, please remember.
Yeah, I remember mine, and it was answered by a really great member of the community, Swimmy Leone, and my question was, if you keep the vanilla key items on, where is the crystal? This was back when in ZZ2 or thereabouts, when the crystal was more often than not just a randomized key item. And Swimmy Leone told me that Golbez hands the crystal to you when you go to fight Zeromus, the same as the vanilla game.
There's definitely a history to the randomizer without, I think the objective system definitely didn't come initially, and I'm sure randomized crystal report. I think Forge was one of the early objectives too, which it's actually different from when the Forge is an objective list. Like there's two different ones where Forge, there's the Forge end requirement that doesn't give you the excal, which is different from the regular one, which does give you the excal. Those are distinctions which are kind of interesting, and I think I see a possum deciding D machine grind is for me. So I completely accept it, because that's the first thing I see. Early Tella with not so hot team. I need the levels, and I'm with Possum on this. There's kind of no skirting around it, at least in terms of trying to make that hook route, the forced hook route, any easier.
Yeah, Possum heading up to that giant to get a good grind on. He's going to meet all kinds of dragons up there named Daryl. It'll be lots of fun for him. But yeah, as you were saying, Death, there are as many ways to play this randomizer as there are stars and moons to wish to. So it really is a lot of fun. Jabron attacking the hook route the more conventional way and finds Rubicant. Cannot wait for everybody to get there and takes the first spot instead.
At least that Ruby's more punchy, though strangely enough, just enough to make Porum take a nap. It's a very punchy spot, but I'm trying to think about probably Jaybrun's actually probably when everyone's visited Bedward, gotten the heroine robe, and still not enough defense to absorb that hit. So you can see how much damage Ruby, especially at the King Queen Evelyn spot, very punchy. That spot doesn't punch normally, but when it punches hard. So that Ruby surprisingly took down a pretty tanky Porum by comparison.
But the magic power here, not intense. The Fire 2's not doing a whole lot. Even the Glare wasn't enough to one-shot Cecil. And Jaybrun is through.
Yeah, that spot also not the most intelligent. It's a low spell power spot, so there isn't so. But Glare does a lot of like base spell power damage, surprisingly. So helping. Oh, didn't want to save. Oh, this will be interesting.
We'll see. I'm a big coward. I think, as I've said before, so I would always be doing a safety save. But Jaybrun knows he has a murder child here, and is going to take on that Baigan. Tybalt, meanwhile, doing a trap chest you don't see every day, taking on the Prociote Jucleote trap chest up here on the moon, more commonly known as the hair dryers.
They're supposed to be cells, effectively. I think that's what they're technically are, but they look like hair dryers, and I respect that. It's not every day where you want to take on hair dryers. This is actually one of those times where Tybalt, kind of along the lines of, I need all the loot and experience that you can pick up, before the maybe not try to do a D machine grind. So this makes a lot of sense for Tybalt. Kane is probably going to do most of the work with a little help from Porum maybe, and let Cecil do cover strats. The best weapon you have on hand is really the Dragoon Spear, so this makes a lot of sense for Tybalt.
Counting D machines on Possum's side, I'm trying to figure out if he's facing Daryl, or if he's facing Daryl, or if he's facing Daryl, or if he's facing Daryl. Ooh, just a little bit early with that life glitch. Will lose out on that life potion and that little bit of experience. Meanwhile, Tybalt did find a full moon, which is really effective on these flags if you have an edge to give it to.
Well, edge is going to be guaranteed in the seed. The question is more of where is edge? Could be back of the giant for all we know, and that is a sad place to be in. Edge is, I think, the only character on in the restricted set, so we are guaranteed to see him somewhere, but maybe not in the nicest place. And back of giant is probably not the nicest of places to be in, and at that point, not going to be picked up, regardless.
Where is Edge been? Where is Edge been? There he is. There he is. Hiding in the giant, or maybe the tower. Who can say? Who can say?
Maybe, I mean, a nice place for Edge would be like Dwarf Castle, maybe. That's one of the few nicer places. There aren't too many restricted locations. The nicest one is obviously, the vanilla spot in Cave Evelyn, but we know that's where Tella is, and probably the most important character at this point in the seed. I mean, probably next to Kane and Porum at this point, given what we have for equipment.
Yeah, we have seen absolutely nothing for Edge. so far besides that full moon, really. Maybe a middle sword, but I haven't seen a ninja sword, a long sword, much less a Hanzo steel. So, Edge, uh, even if he did show up relatively soon, probably an easy cut for any of these parties.
Kind of. Well, I mean, after this, probably will leave. I think Possum will probably try to peek. We'll probably, do, this element spot and the CP spot to complete the giant, hoping for a character. And chances are that that character is going to be required. So probably is worth peeking. There are. Trying to remember how many spots there are when there are no free characters, and this is just there is a bunch. We've only gotten how many characters? J Brunter with having 5 characters. So yeah, that's a still,
so we
have
still
a fair amount. It's like half of it done at this point.
Yeah, there's still Dwarf Castle, there's still Baron Castle, there's still 2 characters up in the Tower of Zot, and there's still the Giant character, as well as the Sand Ruby character, although we know who that is.
I think,
and
at this point, you're probably looking for the Earth Crystal to get your double dip of characters. That's where the density is. So maybe hoping getting the Earth Crystal is probably just immediately do Zot or close to it, if that is picked up.
Yeah, I think the Earth Crystal is the closest thing to an instant check, no matter where you are up on these seeds. Dibble going into the lunar subterrane, taking on the Leviathan here in the Pale Dim spot. Really, a really big play, a really kind of gutsy play for Tybalt's levels here. We'll see how it pays off for him.
I mean, K-Summon and K-Moon are on, so Leviathan will definitely get some key item. May not be a key item though, but hey, you never know. So, but it's not, at least, but it's a part of the pool. So Leviathan isn't as threatening on the spot. I think Pale Tim, I think, has okay magic. So with the damage mostly being just magical, not worried about punches. This is semi-free. It's just gonna be slow for Tipple, but definitely reasonable. Given that Lotella probably would. I'm trying to think if Tella would actually do any sort of contribution with Lit 3, but you probably just want to just do whatever you can with the characters you have. And yeah, those Ice 2s still pretty devastating though.
Gabrun is through and will be our first runner underground. Did give a peek at the boss at the top of the tower. Did not see who it is. Probably not at the top of Jabrun's list of things to do based on the objectives anyway. Keyless Tower, although it's the right play 100% of the time, doesn't often lead to an advancing key item when you're looking for it too.
Missed the treasure, but Possum looked for the last arm. Was fortunate because when it uses the trapdoor search, it changes the targeting. So normally Fission targets every character, but since search was used and targeted, I think it was Kane. Kane was the only one who took the brunt of the damage, and that is actually that's pretty fortunate. You usually don't want to leave it to chance, but when you're fortunately kind of forced, when the forced targeting happened for Possum, I was gonna expect a death, probably a telenap and maybe Edward at the time, but survived. Didn't even worry.
Dr. Luge is dancing in the back of Dwarf Castle. All told, not too difficult of a boss to find in this situation. Jabrun immediately going to take that on. Meanwhile, there is 120,000 HP worth of Ashura here in the Giant.
I think it's only 65,000. There's no second form. There is Azure does give in this spot, the element spot. There is a lot of HP in the form, but if there's only one form, the boss will have the maximum possible or almost maximum possible, the 65,000 over 65,000 HP, which will take a bit of time to go through. Probably will want. I think there's some reflect up, so yeah, wall will make life easier. I think with the boss being this fast, I don't think that wall might even not wear off. So, and with Berserk Cecil with the mute knife, did not pick up the rune X that some of our Evelyn Castle divers have got picked up. That will slow this battle down, but it'll at least move at a decent pace at least.
Double through that Leviathan, got a life staff for it, but probably more enthused by the EXP he got. Life staff, nice for Porum, but I believe there was one already lying around in Evelyn Castle.
Yeah, this is just for the key items that are gating characters. So Tybalt's just basically effectively doing the grind on the moon, and many runners would prefer that the moon is haunted, but this might, if there are some key items on the moon that turns into Tybalt's favor, Tybalt will have a massive advantage. So right now this is effectively Tybalt's grind, and and with the warlocks on this spot, usually pretty free, especially when you mute them. This is a good place to get your XP, not doing a D machine grind.
Yeah, Warlocks is a very respectable grind to do. Jabrun faces down a Sparkle in the second spot, and that is a duplicate cane, no help from Dwarf Castle, and the second spot is a Wyvern. So, the magic power here, not terrible, but a Mega Nuke is still a Mega Nuke, and Jabrun lost all the progress he made. And Dwarf Castle might be on the back burner for a little while.
It's Blarg. It's better than bad. It's good. That song's been in my mind. That log song, and I love Blarg though. So that's the moment where when you see Blarg, you panic, and you not even enough HP to take in only one spell multiplier worth of damage. So that's unfortunate. The damage itself is like a high spell power, and there's a little gap. So you need like 1,200. Let me just do some math. It's like 12. Yeah, while you're doing 1,300 HP, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, it's one of those spots where you have enough time to get a Star Veil off, but you know there's only 3,000 HP. You know the magic power is low there. You think you can try and sneak one in, and it just didn't work out for Jabrun. But he does go into the Feymarch and gets a Baron key. Huge key item, another character check, and that might be the next spot that Jabrun checks after finding out who are the bosses in the Land of Summon Monsters. Oh, that's obnoxious. Oh,
ew, double ew. We got Turtle and Val, and I think Pain Man is on the CPU spot, so probably Porum takes a nap, but that's a very survivable fight. But it looks like Possum decided to try to get everyone alive for the XP, and there is an abundance of XP at this spot.
Certainly is. Possum doing it like a pro, which he is. Tybalt, meanwhile, finding one of those free bosses, the Dark Imps, and I don't know if we found hourglasses yet, which would make it truly free. The Dark Imps will hurt a bit in this spot, but should have enough to get through it.
Porum, come through. Just need the size to come through. No, there's no Toad, but size is just good as Toad. So all these punches are practically harmless. It's almost like they are stopped. So this is now a free fight. So probably will be worth reviving Edward, and probably will try to use the life trick. I don't know which spot this was, but it's probably still worth trying to do the life glitch on.
Yeah, even if it's the white spear altar, I think it's worth it. The ribbon room has a ton of exp, and that's definitely where you want to get it done. Even the white spear altar, the plague spot, might be worth it. Morpheus did get through that DKC, picked up Edge from the back of the Giant, so the Giant might be required, depending on how how gated a key item is, and immediately tells Edge, "Now you can go hang out in the Tower of Wishes." But it's gonna go to the Tower of Wishes.
There are only a few. I think it's a regret. One of the equipment. That's like, oops. That's a.
Wanted
oops.
that black belt.
Yeah, Edge start equipment, pretty nice for any berserker. So yeah, that should have didn't want the Edge, but really wanted the equipment. So this is a kind of a mistake, but it's whatever. It's the detour. Might as well. Probably. Things happen. At least it's not us. There are plenty of flags like perma join or what other flags? The flags where you just can't that you can't pick up another character, and so fortunately, yeah. So sometimes, fortunately, those flags are not in play. Oh, and permadeath is fun until it's not. Those are immediate resets, not as interesting. C-buy is when you pick up a character. If you say goodbye, they're gone for good. So it's like you got to pick them or you don't, and they're gone. That's sometimes there are plenty of flags to tickle your fancy.
So J-Front going to answer our burning question of who this blue robe was at the beginning in Baron Castle. And it is Senator Crocodile and the legislative pages. It's a West Wing episode over here.
It's a what was the word? Lost my word.
We have a quorum.
It's a filibuster. That's what it is. The particular thing about Senator Crocodile and Alderman Alligator, I think that's the other. That's the they do double punches, but one of the things that one of the quirks, not specific to the randomizer, but the game itself, is when you stop something that kind of cheats with chain attacks. So double punching is a chain. When they chain and they're stopped, that one punch happens, but they're stuck trying to do the second punch. So that filibuster, yeah, it's holding up the game. Can't have that here.
Just consider any one that wants to hit twice a flip-flopper. They can't decide where they want to go.
No, we just need a 24-hour stream. Just have the game run for 24 hours. That's what the filibuster's for, right? Have the game run even longer. Oh, and Possum triggered the death message.
Good luck. Tybalt, meanwhile, found in the Ribbon Room, the source of the biggest source of EXP on the moon, Water Hag, and got a boatload of EXP. Did get a Leviathan summon and a Rat Tail for his troubles there. And as soon as he goes back down to the blue planet, I'm sure the Rat Tail will be number one on his list. But he wants to continue to clear out the moon. And he will find a Mylon Z up here. It's so far a very kind moon. Yeah,
even if this moon is haunted right now, so far the Rat Tail, we don't know what it turns into. So right now it's not quite. It's kind of haunted at the moment, but a free moon is a good time. It's it's easy to be afraid of fighting on the moon, but sometimes especially in this in the seat that was rolled, it sometimes you just at least take a look. You don't know how hard it is until the boss punches you hard enough. But sometimes you get some free fights, and Mylon Z is effectively a free fight. Mylon Z just punches, and it's at the O spot. It's not too bad of a punch, but it's not as devastating as their on other spots. So this is. I'm surprised this moon is the nicest moon we've seen since say the tourney. With the moon, the waxing and the waning of blue and red moons. This is a nice seed.
Giant swings are what you take, fighting on the moon. I hope my lance don't break, fighting on the moon. And that Mylon Z goes down. And meanwhile, Jaybrun picking up an item you rarely see, a diet food from one of the Aqua Worms, and Tybalt has music. All kinds of things going on. Morpheus showing what those levels can do already through the hook route. Tall Grant still working on that Baigen.
Yeah, the Baigen always making things a little bit of a slog. So, but using blink strats, Tella, while not the strongest of mages, but blink is pretty easy, reasonably raw enough to be applied. So and having two white mages often helps. And we see, hey, these lunars are on the throne. I don't know how you stuff two dragons under a cloak of some sort, but that's how we hide all our bosses under.
Well, one is
disguise.
obviously the king consort, and one is obviously the queen consort.
And Tybalt's finding the last boss and hey, it's the constant laugh track, Golbez.
And Tybalt does have two fighters down already, so that will make this first part a little bit faster. But this is the Crystal Sword Altar. Magic power here is a joke. And Golbez does not do any physical attacks. Tybalt should be through this in no time.
I think there should be a ribbon. Probably one character might be Porum, so it might be a free fight if the shadow picks the one with the ribbon, and it just happens to. It looks like it happens to be that way. Kanan's unfortunate, so it's whatever. The fight is scripted to in Free Enterprise to kill off every character but two. So having already napping characters is actual bonus. So it actually kind of worked out in Tybalt's favor.
It's the magma key. That is what we found. Now we're filled with glee. We can't get underground. Jaybrun picks up the magma key, which is a key item, and which is not nothing. But the real prize for defeating the reign of dragons on the throne is Rosa. So Jaybrun only needs one more character in order to get the crystal.
And some free guards in the basement. They have decided, Odin's vacated. We'll take over for you. And guards are super free given the situation. So though Edward's still taking the brunt of the initial attacks, it's fine. Although I don't think there's some. That might be. It looks like it'd be a little slow. Might be taking care of it by let the murder child do her thing with some mute arrows.
Awesome. Through Dwarf Castle in a flash. Meanwhile, Tall Grant cracking some eggs, getting a pink tail. So the pink tail, not as useful in this flag set as it could be in some others. Will get a very high tier item, but not an adamant armor, which of course is the most overpowered armor in the game. And Morpheus will not go out of his way to trade that in.
Yeah, bro, it's still worth picking up. Although Possible Frames, having done the grind, won't care for the key item conglomerate. Having 10 key items does enable double XP by default in the randomizer set, and always worth picking up. And Jay Brunter finding out, hey, we have second Dragoon Spear in the seed.
Although it's the first one for him, and he'll walk that out.
Oh, well then. Hey, always nice. Where did we find the second one? Is it in Eblent Castle? I think that was So that was.
Oh, from the Mad Ogre chest. Tybalt through Golbez gets the pan. So Tybalt has a lot of things on his to-do list when he gets back down to the blue planet. Rat Tail, pan, Twin Harp, but nothing that directly leads to another character.
No surprise. Kind of a no surprise. This is a character hunt, and fighting whatever's on the Fame March does not look appealing, even with Possum's levels. So, don't fall into that. Fading that is acceptable. I mean, the level right now, not having enough key items gating characters is kind of the thing holding up most of the seeds. So I think Tybalt, at least while not having done the traditional grind, might be a little bit ahead in terms of depending on what those key items bear out.
Well, that's gone. Jbrun demonstrating just what happens when you throw the magma key down the well when you already have a way underground. Possum Morpheus going to trade in that pink tail and gets a moon veil for it. It will be really useful one time, and Possum will walk it out. Tall Grant, meanwhile, in Dwarf Castle, Tybalt walking right up to the evil wall in Cave Bahamut, and decides, I wonder if Tybalt has a moon veil in his inventory. He's putting the ribbon on Kane, figures he can make this pretty much a free fight.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kane probably right now at this point is the one doing the most damage. Although now, that was Porum goes down immediately. That is unfortunate. We'll probably try to get Blink from some source. I think a Moonveil certainly would be a better option, and then you can still apply Berserk with the Bacchus wine, as it ignores wall. So that usually becomes a lot more appealing. So yeah, so right now just hoping to get a Blink on Kane, so Kane doesn't go to take a nap immediately, as Evil Wall is very eager to make everyone take naps.
So I don't want to alarm you, but technically Jbrun is in go mode, and he is heading for the Giant of Babel. We know up here that Edge is waiting at the end of two bosses that aren't necessarily free, but still Jbrun on the inside track here to be the first to get 7 out of 8 characters and get his crystal.
Yeah, that's sometimes it's a little surprising when it comes when that comes up where especially with given the objective, it's like we don't have enough characters. Oh well, we actually have, and Jay Butt has done every objective to obtain a character, package, Baron, so those characters do add up, and so what makes this interesting is how kind of all coming together, and probably can do the grind while here, however minimal that is, or may not happen. I'm not sure of what Jay Parker's levels are, because I don't remember any sort of grind happening, but has done at least the Evelyn treasure, so that should be some decent help.
Yeah, not much of a grind for Jbrun, but this randomizer kind of does encourage people uh, to go as fast through it as possible, with the knowledge that you can uh, do some other things and still be able to beat the game all in one go. Jabron going to equip. He knows he has his work cut out for him up here. I don't know uh, if he can imagine that Ashura will be up here. Ashura for this party with these levels will be tough because Ashura is fast and Ashura heals herself, which can be very disheartening.
I don't. Well, Jayberger hasn't peaked the boss yet, so it doesn't know it's Azure at that spot. But given the levels, it would take, even with an Artemis Heroine Robe Mute Arrow Porum, a long time to have. So right now Jay Prender is doing D machines, as far as I can tell. So yeah, that's so once Jay Prender does effectively D machine grind into eventually into CPU to pick up Edge, then yeah, Jay Prender is definitely on track. But we'll have to see how much time it takes. And Jaypred doesn't have enough key items to get double XP, and double XP off is a lot of runners sometimes defer as long as possible to get as many key items as possible. And clearly at this place with only 5 key items, clearly not enough for attempting it. So yeah, we can't. Not even worried about key items. Just do it. It'll take longer with the life glitch at least available. It'll at least make things a little bit easier.
Sybil did finish that evil wall up on the moon. Only got a dragoon spear for it, but will now start to do his blue planet checks. Possumorpheus did get through. Baron did pick up that Rosa. Possumorpheus is one character away, and I don't know if Possum checked the package. I think he still has that available to him.
Probably not interested, because when you associate with package long cutscenes.
It's only when you only have one character to go. You sit through that package cutscene, because after that you're on your way to Z, and Possumorpheus will summon Edward to burn down Mist. And Possumorpheus will be our first runner to get his crystal.
Sing the song of burning bards. That's and Yang definitely at this point. Possum's not picking up Yang. Just needs to complete it. And doing this last makes sense. It's the last character to pick up. So yeah, it's just one step away from a Z fight.
Thibault is making the play. We'd love to see it. Going to check that Twin Heart. We randomized a lot of things in the game, and one of the very first things I think Boardface randomized in this game was the song that plays here. Edward's theme on the harp is nice, but it can sound the same if you're going to play a lot of these themes, and there's a lot of great music that can be translated into harp music. So there are 500 songs in the library right now, and we'll get to hear one of them.
Yeah. So having especially with Tybalt's current party mostly crippled, this should speed up the fight. Just need Porm to tech bot to it, but went too fast because Tel is the anchor, so Dark Elf sped up quite a bit. But just after these hits, should be quick enough for that fight. And a lot of contributions to the harp music. There's just so many, and there'll be a lot of music themes from video games that you may be familiar with. So, and for now,
mostly thanks to Calm Lamity and Xenocat, and we will hear one of those masterpieces now. Beautiful rendition from Lunar Silver Star, and Tibble does get the tower key from that. And you might feel like he has to chase that. Meanwhile, Possum did get the crystal, will go to the moon and make the long walk down to the bottom of the lunar subterranean. Tall Grant, meanwhile, did check the first Sheila check, did find a Luca key there. Might be worth checking, especially since there are no boss hunts, but you can check the key item first before even checking that boss. And with the lack of trapdoors here, not as long a check as you may think.
Yeah, but normal there is a flag to enable the trapdoors, but since no encounters is part of one of the default settings is usually enabled, you can just skip. You can just talk to the trapdoor and hit it, say "Open Sesame," and the door opens. It's kind of nice. And then you can turn. And if you really want to fight the monster for for a grind or for whatever reason, you can turn it off and talk to the door, and then you can start fighting it. You can only interact with it once, and when it depending on whether the encounter setting is on or off. So one way or another, you can skip the door or fight the door.
By the way, have you been? Do you know whether Jay Brown is fighting Daryl or Daryl? Probably fighting Daryl.
It says D in the name. It could be Dragon, it could be Dave, it could be anything. It could be some name with a D in it. So they're just it's just a dragon. I can't. I don't know what to say.
Possum showing us why he did so well in the recent tournament, and of course, there's no off season for an elite player of Possum's caliber, and he is the first of our restreamed runners to be making the trek down to Zeromus.
Yeah, without a pass, and Tibble did all of the moon and didn't find a pass, but Tibble did all of that because we wanted to avoid coming back to it, and so far probably we'll have to until Tibble bumps into a boss dropping the pass. There's no. It's got have that long walk, but hey, it's that long walk to Z through the lunar core, and there's these flags that's supposed to magically appear during this period, and suddenly Z flags have suddenly appeared.
We've been referencing flags all night. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't know. I think these ones are trying to remind us that it's late and we need to go to bed, but no, it's actually not that. It's Zeromus. It's always the end game boss in this game and in the randomizer, and if Z can't move him, can't make him do other things, but Z in a randomizer is because he changes form, we can make him look like anything we want, and a lot of art coming from Scala board, a lot of contribution from Scala. There's that one question, and I'm sure you would like to ask that question.
Whose butt Are we gonna kick tonight?
With follow-up questions like, does it have a hat? Does it have a butt? Is butt cute? And we have our answer.
This is the end. Free Enterprise friends, the end of our elaborate plans, the end of everything that stands, the end. A silk web, no surprise, the end. Oh, that nuke is burning my eyes, the end. Possum dealing with the endomus.
Well, I mean, they're doing the berserkers are doing all the damage they can, but Porum probably will be here to accelerate quite a bit of it with some reflex strats. So this typically is a hybrid strat. You have your berserkers doing their thing, and mages using reflect that doesn't cause a trigger, damage trigger, and a counter trigger. And that's a good thing, because typically one of the common counter triggers you see is a nuke cast, and like from the Silk Web, and that is usually not what you want to see, because usually takes down a character with the amount of damage that from that is usually dealt. Right now, Edward's gonna for right now it's gonna be our healer. Eventually, Porum will be the healer once Edward goes down. So probably try to keep Edward upright for as long as he can possibly. Even though I think we found a spoon somewhere else, and Possum has not picked that up. So it's really up to the berserkers to do most of the damage.
Yeah, and we've been talking about Possum's ability as a runner, which is substantial, but Zeromus not free ever, especially with this kind of party. Zeromus Possum Morpheus making it look easy so far, but all it takes is one big bang into rocks to make it look real squirrely.
Yeah, when the thing about it, the timing is sometimes you can go to Big Bang and then immediately follow up with Meteor, and that's usually the end for some when there's unfortunate timing going on. And J Printer now finding Abjura after doing the grind. So that's
Tall Grant finding that chocobos are useful to save lives, and that's why we serve turkey and not chocobos at Thanksgiving.
I'd still like to know what a choco tastes like, but I feel like the answer is like the default taste.
Like chicken.
Yes,
yeah. They're like everything. It tastes like chicken.
So at least the Edmus, classic image from Final Fantasy 1, the ending. I mean, hard to forget. Looks like a black hole will stop a berserker, so time to put up back the berserker for that berserk. Edward now trying to contribute somehow. I'm not by using heal potions though. I don't remember where those the cure 3 potions are bought, but shopping will get you what you need most of the time, especially early the seed.
Yeah, Possum really put time and effort into shopping. Found those cure 3s in Troya, so really coming through big. And when you only have Porum, you need a capable white mage.
That nuke, that was a number. That was a pretty. That was like the top tier. Looks like Porum did not realistically evade one multiplier, as it was like that we're in Rock's phase, so the end is nigh, and hey, Edward survived. That is a rare moment.
Did that dodge, took that meteor right to the face, and Possum Morpheus in first place with a time of 1:27:51. Possum Orpheus comes in first among all the runners from this race, including the ones who aren't on your restream, all 7. Possum Orpheus is number 1. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview, but GG's to Possum.
GG's. That was a very, I think, pretty efficient. I'm sure he has much things to say about the seed. Like, hey, starting Edward. That's a thing.
We are joined by Possum Orpheus. Possum, GG's.
GG's, friends.
So, what'd you think of a DKC and Edward start, as Deathlike was just saying, which basically meant just a DKC start with what Eddie had to offer?
I wanted a black sword and a dancing dagger. I found a black sword in the first 5 chests in Baron Inn, because with that team, I also want to know who else is floating around. And then I was like, well, that's probably enough to go attack things. And then I was going to die to Demist, and then I was going to die to like 4 other things. So I had to kind of temper my expectations a little bit.
Yeah, with the early characters, that was I think was they're just didn't look very appealing, and probably struggled like thinking, how to advance the power level to a state where then even fighting Demist on Mount Hobbs would be at least not as terrible as it felt that early.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of how do I get to the point where I can do a hook route? Because with Force Hook being on, my thought was just, well, I mean, I have a Cecil. I know that there is in Baron and a Porum. Worst case scenario, those 2 can get me through a hook route. Almost anything on a hook route. It might not be pleasant, it might not be fast, but it can be done. So let's see who else is floating around, and then go to Hobbs and see the dupe Edward, and it's not the best. Get the early darkness and go peek it and see Kane. It's like, okay, that might help. I didn't really have anything for him until I went to check the freebie, and had I checked the freebie and done the public treasury, that would have made that Baron Inn a whole lot easier. That was an adventure. I can't remember the last time I used 2 Bacchus wines and a Black Sword Cecil, but hey, here we are. So stuff was just kind of all out of sorts, but got there in the end. So
when in the sea did you decide that the D Machine grind was calling your name?
When I saw Tella.
Sometimes it really is that simple.
Yeah, like the characters that were available. I guess I wish I would have known Yang was a thing. And I might have sat through the package to take Yang and sling him. And maybe not sling Cecil, maybe sling like Porum Yang. Because Yang with a boatload of levels is better than anything I had to offer. So I think in hindsight, I definitely should have looked at that. But I was just so committed to setting everything up because of the way I routed. It was a tough one, character-wise, but yeah, basically as soon as Altella, especially with the Baigen there, was like, I don't want to. Like, I can do it, I just don't want to. Let me make this easy. I will say shoutouts to DKC on the Giant. I actually got rolled for max on Porum on the 3rd wave for 1305. That was cool. That's the first time I've seen a 1305 in the wild. So, always fun.
It's good to be... It's good to know that the enemies are really throwing their best against you, huh?
I mean, that Giant was a huge risk, but paid off. Sarah was throwing her best shots. So was DKC. Even Baigen hit a little harder than I was expecting, but dropped anyway. It was a very interesting seed, though. Pretty tough flag set. I had remarked before the race started, I hadn't really looked at these flags. I was like, let me look at the flags now. I was like, wait a minute, these look kind of hard. So they definitely played out that way. Not the easiest flag set for sure. Definitely got a little lucky on the routing on this one. Just prioritizing raw character checks, and it paid off.
Yeah, the very first person on stream to get underground took 50 minutes to do so, which when that happens that that you've rolled a tough seed on tough flags.
I apologize for nothing.
Cubs, I would have it no other way. I thank you, sir, for everything you do.
So-
Oh, go ahead, Deadlight.
No, I was thinking, I think the most useful use of the Black Sword was on that Mom Bomb as the second Baron in, because that was the biggest gamble you had of that seed, because you just drank Bacchus wine and hoped that Cecil didn't take a nap.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that if I could get hit, I had 3 Bacchus wines, and I was willing to use all 3 of them there because of the characters I had seen and had not seen. Getting a white mage and getting a white mage online early is huge. Porum is, regrettably one of the white mage that exists in this game. So, you got to do what you got to do. I heavily value having a white mage around. And the Black Sword, conveniently, is actually strong versus Mom Bomb, who is weak to the darkness element or whatever it is the Black Sword has to it. So knowing that, and knowing that if I Bacchus up with Cecil, he's going to do 500 to 600. He's fast. Mom Bomb rolled high on agility. I could tell based on the number of turns Mom Bomb was getting that it must have rolled 6 or 7 there instead of the 4 to 5 it can roll. So I felt a bit risky now with how fast Mom Bomb's got. But I know if I can get in there and do, if I had to do it again, it was fine. I was willing to commit to that. And just happened to get through it. Should have just used a bunch of Thor Rages at the end instead of trying to get cheeky with blizzards and stuff. But got through. Little bit of a little touch and go at the end with just the Cecil alive, but got there.
So let's get to the really important questions, which is Edward in these flags like sweet potatoes with marshmallows at your Thanksgiving dinner?
Man, that's a tough question to respond to because I'm a huge fan of that dish. And if you give me a spoon, I'll eat all of it. And if you give me a spoon with Edward, he can run rampant over a whole seed.
I should have known better than to ask the literal trash eater about sweet potatoes.
That sounds like a you problem, my friend. Look, I like food. Come on now.
I think Spoon was at was it Dark Elf, you weren't getting that spoon, unfortunately.
I don't even know where the Dark Elf was, so
No, Spoon was the result of the Twin Harp, and the Twin Harp is on the moon.
oh. No. No.
All right,
well,
so-
that's unfortunate.
So, how would you make a Thanksgiving analogy to the friends giving you had invited into this party?
I mean, it was basically all of our besties, and instead of bringing their best dishes, they brought their second best dishes and left the really good stuff at home. That was this party's Friendsgiving. I had to steal Edge's black belt and bandana. That's how hard up I was.
I thought I thought you forgot to wait. I needed that. I think that was a moment that you think I needed that.
Yeah. I don't like going into a Z fight with an Ogre Axe Cecil, a Dragoon Spear Cane with no gear, and an Eddie who's like, hi, and a Tella who's an Anchor, and a Porum who still somehow died, even after getting all the levels to a counter nuke.
Yeah,
bad rolls there.
Each of the friends decided to bring a 6-pack of Diet Sprite that they had already taken one can from. It seemed like. Well, Possum Morpheus, you did the thing, and you came in first with a time of 1:27:51. Masterful as always. GG's.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sheep. Thank you, Deathlike. Appreciate y'all both on comms. Definitely going to be a fun watch back. Thank you, Cubs, for the seed and for the restream. Appreciate you stepping in and getting this one all fired up and accepting me as a late ad to the restream. And thank you, Warlunk, for pushing the buttons. And I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their night. And for those who celebrated, happy belated Thanksgiving if you haven't already heard from me. Y'all have a good night.
And that was our first place finisher, Possum Morpheus. And meanwhile, Jbrun has his crystal, and now he just needs some levels to go along with it. Sybil clearing up some checks. He has the pan, going to get that Luca key, and then going to find the second thing that Sheila has, just an Odin summon, and Rydia's taking the night off. Absolutely no help.
Oh, she's in the seed, just not in a nice place. That's always the thing. I think Jay Brunter took the edge over the Eddie, so that's where the second grind is coming in. While normally you really want to do second grind, but probably not thinking much of Eddie's. No, Spoon hasn't shown up for Jay Brunter. Makes sense to do it. It's like, but you usually want to avoid doing a second grind. At least I can understand not wanting the Eddie, as you already have a Porum, so the Eddie looks like to be like a kind of a second point of failure, and probably not worth risking. Worth risking it. So I think I can understand why Jay Brunter's doing second grind.
So both Tybalt and Tallgrant looking for those other three characters. I don't think either has been to Baron yet. Tybalt's on his way there now. I don't think either has checked the package yet, and neither obviously has done the Giant. So the only other place a character could be behind that Earth Crystal, which is where Palom is, and the Earth Crystal we saw from Possum Morpheus's kind of end of stream log is from the Sealed Cave. And the Sealed Cave, of course, accessible by the Luca key. Luca key was from Sheila.
Yeah, that's a lot of things to do, and given was it Sheila 1, I think, right? So probably should immediately accessible, but many runners avoid doing Sheila if the pen is not in play, and only Tybalt picked up the pen on the moon, so that would have been a play to do. So kind of gated under a lot of stuff in between, and I don't know what you think, but stuffing, I'm in between the stuffing. I don't know. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, well, you demonstrated to me that you don't know how to cook stuffing. If that's your response to it,
it's fine.
Yeah. You're talking to a guy who had literally 4 turkey and stuffing sandwiches today. Like, yeah. I have stuffing coming out of my ears, and maybe I'll go for another one after this is over. Who knows?
I should probably say about it. Like, maybe I'm just disappointed when I've tasted stuffing. It's mashed potatoes. It's all I can think of. It's all I can think of.
Yeah, D machines and mashed potatoes. That's all Deathlike can think of. Do want to thank Deckhard Aura for raiding with their party. Welcome into Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise here on the Free Enterprise 2 channel on Twitch. Possum Morpheus did come in first in this our community race, and the flag set is called Looking for Group Hard, and that means that we're inviting all of our friends over for Friendsgiving. We need to invite 7 of 8 of our friends in order to get the crystal to go defeat Zeromus.
Yeah, having seen the seed, I mean, the tough start. Just as a quick recap. Tough start. DKC and Eddie, not the pairing. Usually hoping that you have one, not the other, at the same time, and Jay Brunter showing off. Hey, trying to win our hearts, doing the meme, hoping for an actual adamant armor drop. And while normally Pink Puffs drop the Pink Tail, but since the randomizer uses it for key items, Pink Puffs directly drop adamant. So hey, why not?
Okay, so they don't actually do it. There's a 1 in 256 chance that a Pink Puff could drop an adamant armor. So you're saying there's a chance. And the reason, it's really rare that they do it. And the kind of inside joke here is we'll stop broadcasting if that happens. And I don't know. I like talking to my friend Deathlike. I like having Warlink05 as my tracker. I even like having Cubs Rule 21 as my restreamer, doing all the work behind the scenes in order to allow this broadcast to keep going. So I don't want this to end. So as much as it pains me to say it, Jaybrun, I hope you come up empty in this fight.
Cubs rolled the seed, so there's lots of Thanksgiving to go around. So, the thing about drops is, even though it's also the rare, the adamant is the rarest drop, but it's like under 5% chance for it to drop. It's like 5 out of 96 or something. So just for a monster to drop, a particular monster to drop is pretty low. So compounds the rarest drop plus chance to drop. So those are multiplicative, math. So if you have a maybe Powerball, just hoping to roll that item. Well, we'll see. And
the blue screen came up, but it was an either two. We're still going, baby. You can't get rid of us.
So close. Just even getting to the drop screen is rare in itself. So
you're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Well, Jaybrun did give it the old college try, and now he is on his way to Zeromus.
Yeah, shouldn't be too bad. Got the second grind with a much more stable party. Although I don't know what Edge has picked up. I know there was a full moon. Might have picked up a ninja sword. I don't know, but it should, with 3 berserkers, 1 healer, should be more than sufficient to make the seed pretty stable. Outside of the occasional Big Bang into Medio horror show that can also happen. So when it happens, it's sudden and it's quick.
We did say earlier that there are 7 runners overall, and we do want to point out in second place with a time of 1:40 was Funnel Cakes. GG's to Funnel Cakes. Get those GG's out in chat. The official time 1:40:35. So Funnel Cakes comes in second place. Jaybrun fighting for third here.
Yeah, given the seed, considering everything that's going on in the seed, having a kind of a lengthy time for it shouldn't be surprising. It's on the surface it's a difficult seed, and I don't remember having seen a character check race in a while. It's this is we've done a lot of boss hunts. We've seen whole bunch of difficult objectives. The character checks those are the kind of the things when you kind of comb through your knowledge of, hey, where do we pick up characters again? Those and then you can those kind of it's like
it certainly works with a different muscle memory than the boss checks that were the staple of the last tournament, the ZZ5. When you haven't worked on where the non-free characters are in a while, you get to. It's a fun new way to experience the game if you've been set on tournament flags for a while, which you can forgive our runners for being because we just got out of our last tournament, which was super exciting. It was a really fun flag set. This is kind of a modification of the flag set, except the objectives are kind of leading you in a different direction.
Yeah, and there's plenty of flag sets that are on the main website. We can roll these. I think we have a set of flag set that you can just copy and paste into your browser when you plug it in, and it will generate a seed similar to this. Probably not exactly like this, but will feel very similar to this, and other flag sets from previous tourneys and leagues, and there's plenty of things. Even in whether you're new or an expert, there's you can definitely roll a seed to your desires.
Jabron has reached the end, although, as with the worst Choose Your Own Adventure books, you have to do one last thing before you reach the end. Meanwhile, while Jabron is facing the end, we do have a third place finisher. Apricot has finished in third place with a time of 1:47:13. GG's to Apricot.
Yeah, GG's to everyone who's playing this seed. As Jabron, I think has 2 decent weapons. I think maybe long swords. I can't. It's hard to tell what Edge has. It's definitely doing a better job than what Kane is doing, and it's Kane having kind of limited in weapon options. I think Supersmith is on, but I don't think anyone has the items for Forge. So Kane is gonna be kind of short-handed on the damage front, but still will contribute. Just won't be contributing as much. I think Jabron Cecil, I think, is probably with an Artemis bow plus whatever arrows they came up with. So it's doing okay damage, but I think Edge is probably doing the most of the 3 berserkers.
Yeah, you don't see Cecil coming with a bow and arrow every day to the Zeromus fight, although it is always a delight when it happens. I, as a player and inveterate arrow hoarder, so it's always nice to have a big billboard in which to empty all the arrows that you have collected. Someday I'll use these Medusa arrows, and it might as well be against the big boss at the end.
Medusa has like the weakest damage pace.
Yeah, you gotta use them sometime.
Yes, I would sell them off and buy whatever arrows I could get my hands on. Maybe Mute, Charm, Samurai, Artemis, but no, I think you can't. I don't think you can buy Artemis normally on the standard shop flag set. So at best you probably think you get Samurai but arrows. I think maybe Artemis. I think it's tier 6. So maybe if the smith sells out, the smith typically sells the tier 6 weaponry, tier 6 equipment. So that can get you somewhere where other shops, gated shops, typically tier 5, and everything else they're not gated is tier 4 or below. So yeah, I could. So some shopping. Tybalt is going to find out how much junk we do have in our treasury, and I think a light sword has appeared.
Yes, and that actually is really useful. And actually, a defense sword as well. And, not a bad treasury for this late in the game for Tybalt.
Yeah, considering what we've seen, no good Cecil weapon, no good... Kane's best weapon for the most part was the Dragoon Spear, but defense will add a few more points. Tybalt, though, probably will pick up 2 characters on at the top of the tower. So this is definitely gonna move forward. Hopefully, no duplicates. Probably thinking is Palamon right at the top at this point. I think I'm not sure. considering of all the spots that are left and what we have.
Paladin
Yeah.
is definitely up here, and um, I don't think Riddy is appearing in this seat, but Paladin will definitely be up here.
Oh, so we got Rosa. Okay, that's a. I don't remember who was in this flag. And it's just
Well,
a lot of
maybe you should read
characters.
Beyond R in the.
I went an example. That is my fault for the example, but yeah, that was So it's probably picked 8 of the characters randomly, and rocks for Jay Brunter, so not too long. See.
Yeah, Zeromus. Zeromus will only start throwing rocks when he's really stressed, meaning when he's below 12,000 HP. So, when the meteor shows up, you're almost at the end. 12,000 isn't that much to chew through when you've already made it this far. And so it's all over but the shouting, and it is, in fact, all over for Jay Brunter, who will finish in 4th place.
Yeah,
And we'll see if he could get him in for an interview. And I beg your pardon, he comes in 5th place. He got pipped to the line by Twisted Flax, who came in 4th place with a time of 1:52.08. Jay Brun comes in 5th place. The official time 1:53.56.
And duplicate edge. That's unfortunate for Tibalt. So we'll probably need one. Oh wait, no. This will be Jay Brunter's first edge as.
This will be Tybalt's first edge. Tybalt
yeah.
has not gone to the end of the giant yet.
Yeah.
Finds Palom tied up there. Will rescue him. And more importantly, both of those are new characters to Tybalt, and Tybalt will get his crystal right here.
Yep. So go mood for Tybalt. But we'll still have to fight the boss at this spot. Maybe I don't think we've seen Val yet, so maybe Vanilla Val here. Let's hope for that.
Val is in the Fey March.
Fey March is right.
Yeah.
So what could we
sitting next to Kainatsu, which means canonically, Val is married to Kainatsu. You know it to be true, deep in your heart. Yeah, there aren't too many.
I can live with that. That's fine. It's not.
Yes. Yeah, aren't too many bosses who could still be here. Plague is one of them, I believe. We haven't seen Plague.
Looks like
it is the Dark Elf.
Yeah, looks like we'll have a replay of some music with actual Dark Elf. How quaint.
That is nice, but Tall Grant, kind enough to give us a reprise of music. And a gorgeous reprise of a gorgeous song from Lunar Silver Star. And meanwhile, Tybalt taking the shortcut to the moon, getting the pass, and going to face Zeromas. But meanwhile, we are joined by our fifth place finisher and our first place memer, Jbrun. GG's Jbrun.
Thank you. I do what I can.
Well, that was certainly a lot of fun to watch you race. You are excellent, as always. Tell me, did you think when that item screen popped up from the Pink Puffs, did you think maybe there's a chance here?
I was hoping, but it's just not time for the end yet, I guess.
That seed. I'm sure you were thrilled. What you started with as characters, DKC and Edward. What were your thoughts on that start?
Well, I was thinking if I could find either some J items or maybe a dancing dagger for Eddie. Might be able to do some damage. But just kept looting, and thankfully Antlion was only the karate, so then after getting darkness, then getting Cane from the moon, the things started getting a little smoother.
That seemed like a really suboptimal group to attack a hook route with, but despite that, you were the first of our restream runners to get underground. How did you
Really?
kind of attribute that? Yeah.
Wow. Well, really just having the heroine robe, and I think of the Artemis bow from the chest in Evelyn. So, I mean, usually you get a murder quorum. You can take it through the hook route. It may take a little time to sort of clink away at the HP levels there, but it worked out.
Yeah, your opponents were probably looking at the they picked up the Tella, and then you saw the Baigen, and thought probably to say goodbye, and come with the grind. I think you just went through that as is. I think you did. You did get your experience elsewhere in it, and decided to just kind of go through it first, which was definitely different. Different take on going on that hook route.
Yeah, I had thought about doing a grind first, but I don't know. Given all the practice we had with ZZ5, I wasn't very worried about even buying on the hook route. So,
Well, I think the number one thing that came through on your run, as it does with all your runs, is just how much fun you're having while you're playing this. What does this? How does this game kind of get you to that point where it's just so joyful?
well, it's just finding all of the little Easter eggs that are out there. Like sleeping in the king's bed has a special message. So, and yeah, I mean, we've come across all these things in our time with this randomizer, and there's people watching that probably haven't seen them all, so why not show them off a little bit?
Well, you certainly did show it off as you do most of the time you're on Restream. Any final thoughts you have about this, the CJ Brun? Anything you wish we asked you, anything you really want to talk about.
Not really. I just want to say thanks to you guys, Sheep and Deathlake. I'm sure it was enthralling commentary, as always. And then Cubs for rolling the seed. It wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be, given some of his antics that he tends to roll. And then who else did we have?
Link 05 on
Warlink.
tracking, I'm sure you want to thank.
Yes, Warlink, definitely. So, thank you all. It's good to be on a restream, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep, see you then, and GG's once again.
Thank you.
And Tybalt came in 6th place with a time of 2:02:03. See if we could get Tybalt in for an interview. Meanwhile, Tall Grant is in the Seal Cave about to get his Earth Crystal, and we are joined by Tybalt. GG's, Tybalt.
GG's.
So, you were the first to clear out the moon. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as lucrative, I'm sure, as you were hoping, but that was a really kind moon from our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I had an option to fully grind. I knew Earth Crystal was going to be a pivotal item just because it's 2 characters. You go down the hook route, okay, you've got Dwarf, but what else beyond that? You know, you go out to Fade March, but dealing with that Bigan at Ruby, I'm like, nope, nope, I'll go to the moon. I don't care. I've got a Porum, I've got Mute, I've got Sirens, I can do Warlocks, this is fine.
Yeah, I think this flags up with probably like a massive change of pace from ZZ5 to this, where in ZZ5 you got to pick your characters, build your party, and then go on your force hook route. Here, you're doing the opposite. You have to you have to kind of decide where you're gonna get your characters from through your key items and try to build a party from that. How was that change of pace, and any thoughts on like trying to clear your character objectives?
I mean, it's just a flip of the coin in this aspect. Like you can either go underground or you go to the moon. You got key items everywhere, and picking your party as you go is great. But sometimes you got to make that snap decision of, okay, this is the party I have, and throughout most of the moon, it's like, okay, cool, I've got Kane's just rocking house with the Dragoon Spear. I was quite happy with that. Edward's kind of useful. If I get the spoon, great, he's even more useful. If not, I'll trade out for Palom and I'll just do a hybrid. Well, down the spoon, I'm like, okay, Edward, you're on the team. I don't care about Palom anymore. It's just a matter of being able to just on the fly be able to go, okay, this is the party I'm going for. If I can't get it, I have a backup option. And that's what happened in this case. That I wasn't able to... You stick the Earth Crystal on the moon, this is a completely different seed.
Yeah, either way, though, Palom is going to be one of the last characters you run into. So, you had a little bit... everybody had a lot of trouble kind of finding any decent firepower early on in the seed. What did you think when you were running around with an underpowered DKC and an Eddie just trying to find some foothold in the seed?
At minimum, I either wanted a black sword or I wanted a dancing dagger. I was hoping for a dancing dagger, found the black sword. I'm like, cool, I've got something I can work with. Now let me go. I saw the Yang. Now, Yang in himself can be great, but he needs levels or strength boosting gear, which I had none of. So as soon as I had the option of, I had Heroin Robe, I'm like, cool, I want either Rosa, I want Porum, I want someone to be able to wear that. And so I got the Porum out of Baron, and I'm like, cool, I've got everything I need. And then I saw Bike and Mattel, and I'm like, no. I'll go elsewhere. Me and Bigan don't agree.
Yeah,
Wagon has 2 arms to give you a hug.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
understand this hostility.
Why does it always have to be snakes?
Always snakes.
Always has to be snakes.
So I think you're the only one. I think you were the first one on Restream to do harp, but I think you're the only one on Restream, at least so far, that did the did the treasury. I assume you were looking for something to swing for Cecil, right? That was probably the only thing.
Yeah, a little bit for Cecil, maybe some strength boosting gear like black belts, karate gi, something for Edward to stick on. Which headband, karate gi, and crystal ring, perfect. Cool, I'm happy. T-Pro, you're not gonna find much in that treasury except for those. If you get lucky, you spike the defense sword. Cool. I mean, Zeus got a lot better. Was there anything at that pink tail? Because I never turned it in.
It was a moon veil.
Okay. Because if that was a crystal sword, I'd been like. The reason I decided to chase that is I come back from the moon. I've got Pan, I've got Rat Tail, and I've got Twin Harp. I'm like, I spent so much time on the moon. I've got to follow what's on the moon. What I got on the moon. I can't go down the hook route. I just got to continue to fade that. Because I figure if everybody goes down the hook route, they've probably already cleared all that stuff. And if hook route, if Earth Crystal was down there, somebody would already be finished. And I got to keep fading it. And it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, I think the Earth Crystal is definitely the key item to highlight, but I don't think it was definitely would made faster, but I think it was gated under so many different things that probably slowed you down. I think ultimately, at least relative to the rest of the runners, it was
yeah, because he was behind the Luca key, and you got the Luca key from the Fame March freebie, so you still had to go underground regardless. And I knew I had Yang sitting there at package, but at that time, I only needed to find 2 of 3 characters. My only option was Giant. And it's like, no, that's only 1 character. No key items. Nope.
Although the Giant did have Edge, so there were duplicate edges.
And duplicate canes.
Yep. So the thing we've been asking everyone, and I think the most hotly debated thing is, which Thanksgiving side dish is Edward?
Is Edward?
Yeah. I contend he's sweet potatoes with marshmallows because nobody likes him.
Well, see, that's the thing is, I'd say it's either sweet potatoes and mushrooms or the stuffing or dressing. Not a lot of people like it, but some people do. Some people enjoy that stuff.
Wait, who doesn't like stuffing?
My partner.
Oh boy, that seems like a bad choice on your part. Not to insult them.
Maybe I've been married 8 years.
Okay, so you still have time.
And all in all, Great Seed just made all the wrong choices.
No, you did make a lot of great choices, and it was a whole lot of fun watching a player with your skill level take on this Cubs Rules special, like a whole bunch of
shenanigans.
Cubs Rule doesn't play around. The earliest time anybody got underground on Restream was 50 minutes, so it was one of those kinds of seats.
Oh, I believe it. And that Baigan is what really made that what it was, because that, like I said, Baigan there is not nice. Anybody with high attack power is not nice there.
He only wants to give you a hug. I'm telling you.
No.
2 arms. The better to hug you with, my dear.
Yeah, more of bitey. The snakes. They like to bite.
Well, GG's once again, Tybalt, coming in 6th place, and thanks once again for being restreamed, and we look forward to seeing you the next time as well.
Not a problem. It was always great, and Well, thanks for the commentary. I always enjoy watching these back. So thanks to what was it, Warlink doing the tracking.
Yes.
Yeah. Have a good one, everybody.
Notice Templeton thanked Cubs Roll for restreaming, which I'll grant him that.
Hey, the seed keeps on giving, as they say.
Yes. So that means we have to thank Cubs Rule 21 more profusely for this for the seed, which really tested our runners. It 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 really was a work of art, and everybody has rightfully been thanking Warlake05, who has done a tremendous job with the tracking as he usually does, and everybody wants to hear the dulcet tones of Deathlike, and I don't blame them. I want to hear the dulcet tones of Deathlike, bringing you all of the information on this seed. So, thanks to everyone for bringing this Friendsgiving together. It sure has been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. So there's more to talk about when the seed starts off with interesting combinations, and you have to work through them. And when you have a late kind of hook route going, it tells you how difficult the seed is. It's not because of the runners. It's how difficult a seed can possibly be. You never know what combinations can make a seed kind of linger on longer than you'd think it should. So sometimes gotta have to look at the flags, imagine what you have to do in under possibly the worst of scenarios, and muddle through them. And sometimes you come out really quick. Sometimes it can be a jet seed. It can be a slog. And this seed, on paper, can be a slog. Just with all the things you have to know what you have to do to be efficient, and sometimes get lucky. It's just every seed is different, and this seed shouldn't surprise anyone. It's how it's testing our runners. It is a lot of fun to talk about how things can possibly go wrong, and there's just like Z fights and all things. So sometimes there are surprises, and sometimes they're not. And I'm wondering what Tall Grant is doing outside of selling stuff. Found a cursed ring.
Yep.
Solved
Cursed ring
everything.
for sale in Troya after picking up some nice last-minute gifts. And, it is Friendsgiving here on the seed, but it's also Black Friday today. And, you can never be too early in picking up a last-minute gift for the holidays. And that's just what that Cursed ring was for that Tella, as well as that defense sword for that Kane and that light sword for that vessel. This Tall Grant really is going after Zeromus with everything he has.
Yeah, this. I mean, when you have T Pro enabled, your loot is some people think it's subpar. Some people think it's meddling. It's okay. So if you get anything decent, it's a good seed. So you get sometimes and a winner didn't even get all the goodies. Did not do Earth Crystal. Did not do Treasury. So you consider what things you really need or don't need to kind of move on in a seed. So that's why in a randomizer it's just many ways to complete a seed, and all we care about is how fast you're gonna break through the doors on a Black Friday sale to get there. So yeah.
So that curse ring on that Tella will help get that Zeromus down to a manageable speed. A party of Kane and Cecil and 2 white mages. The HP on that Porum a little bit concerning. But Tall Grant is hoping to get enough turns from everybody who's doing the heavy swinging, the Cecil and the Kane, plus probably a little bit of help from either that Rosa or that Porum, in order to cut this Zeromus down to size.
I typically get concerned about Tella. There's like the HP range where you get concerned about Tella because there's a range where the cursed ring, when you equip it, his agility is at 15 and you equip a cursed ring, then it becomes 0. It makes Z, or mostly just agility, kind of go out of sorts into a point where it's going too fast, and that's where Z becomes very dangerous when you're not going at the speed he is expecting to go. So it's one of those. So when you have all those levels on Tella, and many runners try to to prevent Tella from gaining levels as much as possible. Tella could have barely survived it, but didn't. There are moments where you need to make sure, just double check sometimes the agility status of Tella. I think it's like around 800 HP to 1,000 or something, where I'm not sure what the associated levels are, but where his agility is at exactly at 15, and you really do not want him to be there at that very stat.
Well, Zeromus's behaviors don't lead me to think that is a concern. Zeromus is not especially fast in doing the shakes or responding with that big bang, so I think Tall Grant is right where he wants to be.
Yep, doing the manual slow, trying to get the counter the Big Bang nerf, but also slow down Z as a whole. And slowing down Z is the best thing that can happen. Usually, even you need to slow him twice to get the full effect. Only one slow, I think it's only like 25. He's only 25% slower. When you do it twice, it's 50% slower. And unfortunately, Kane is wiped because that nuke, it hurts. So that Big Bang, the fall Big Bang, while nerfed, still needs to be around 1,200 HP to survive it, and obviously wasn't enough after the nuke.
Yeah, the Big Bang was reduced in power, nerfed, but unfortunately the Cure 3 that Tall Grant had queued up didn't get off quite in time, but Tall Grant will be able to recover everybody that he needs to. Porum will likely be toast by this next Big Bang, but Tall Grant can make it through with 3 fighters.
Yeah, Rosa is usually the preferred white mage, or the better HP pool. So you can typically Rosa will be less likely to fall than Porum, though RNG is what it is. So you could probably roll a lot of damage. So you never know. But I think we've gotten the nerf off. So the Big Bang nerf off. So we should be fine. Although Cecil probably will take a nap if Big Bang follows up, which, yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, you saw that Big Bang did get nerfed. So if you're just a casual watcher, the kind of timing to nerf that Big Bang, not as easy as you would think. It really involves a lot of feel. You have to wait for a shake and then get it in at just the right spot. But that nuke goes off right on Porum. That life 2 on Cecil came just in the nick of time, so Tall Grant should be okay. But yeah, this is kind of showing you that Zeromus, even though we see Zeromus defeated all the time, certainly not a pushover, and things could go wrong at any time.
I don't think Tall Grant picked up any Bacchus wine, so probably wanted the Porum up, but doesn't. At this point, having Rosa still up is fine. Manual Berserk is not, well, I'm not going to save time, but at least stable. Although this Big Bang could roll Rosa, so hopefully the doesn't. Oh, still up just enough. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah. The Big Bang was not nerfed, so you saw the full power of the Big Bang there, but all three characters had enough HP to survive. So that should be a huge sigh of relief to Tall Grant.
Yeah. So regular. So when Big Bang rolls, it when it's unnerfed, it's 2700 HP max damage. So that is
To
so,
everybody.
Yeah,
It's a devastating attack.
Yeah, so nerfing it usually is a very popular thing, but we have reached Rock's phase, so we are good. Media only doing 800 to a little over 1,000 random, so this is pretty safe. Not worried.
Yeah, Tall Grant getting close to the end, past the real danger point, and in fact, he is past the point of viability for Zeromus. Tall Grant finishes in 7th place with a time of 2:23:46. GG's to Tall Grant. That was a really nicely done Zeromus fight, maybe a few less levels than he really wanted to. We'll see if we can get Tall Grant in for an interview.
Yeah, again, this seed was a doozy. Starting with a DKC with Edward can be a little tricky when you don't have the decent amount of J items accessible that early. So sometimes things require a little bit more effort to get in. Here he is.
We are joined by Tall Grant. GG's. That Zeromus fight really made the hairs on the back of our neck stand up. How about you?
To tell you the truth, I've been a little bit hairier about. The only moment in that Zeromus fight I was worried about was that last full Big Bang and making sure Rosa was going to live through it. I thought Kane and Cecil might be able to get through the rocks if they threw a decent dodge, but that was where it got dicey. Most of the rest of it was slow, but kind of under control for what I expected in it.
So how was that start? We start with the DK.
Awful, just awful. Just that party had so many little roadblocks of the mom bomb. We just didn't have good area damage to deal with it. The CPU was a great block to those a couple of vampires I was able to pick up, and it was just really rough getting it started. That black sword helped a lot, and I think once I got a couple of those sirens, that kind of cracked the seed open for me.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure, I've some thought to grinding early, and you definitely cracked some for some Liliths. Obviously, trying to stabilize your party. I think probably for the Kane you picked up that early. So yeah, that totally made a lot of sense at the time.
Yeah, but I think the worst problem of the entire seed was finding the Earth Crystal. And about the time I hit the hook route, I had a pretty good idea how many character spots were left and how many I knew that I absolutely had to go through that Earth Crystal, and just couldn't pick the right place for it. So it made it a bit rougher. It probably would have been a bit faster to also go do D machines, but I've been getting burned by that lately, so I had resolved before we started not to do that tonight. So.
Well, that was it was a really fun race to see run, and you really did do a wonderful job. I know it doesn't seem like it when it takes that long to do something, but Cubs really rolled a special one for you. So when you did, when you found that treasury, that was really useful for it being so late in the seed.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of that seed Cecil carried with a rune axe, and I could have done the Zeromus fight with it, but I'd probably go through a couple more Big Bang cycles, and I just thought, the amount of time it'll take to go down and peek in that treasury is worth what I'll get back when I go do that Zeromus fight. But, I spent a lot of the seed. I gambled on a couple things that were wrong. I was really hoping to see the Sand Ruby at some point, so I wouldn't have to sit through the package cutscene, but that's the only key item I think I missed during the seed. And it had to be in behind one of the two Fey March bosses, behind that evil wall up in Cave Bahamut or whatever was at the Murasame altar. I don't think there was anywhere else it could have been.
I believe the Sand Ruby was behind Val in the Fey March.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, that Fate March did not look pretty. Val in the king spot, Turtle in the queen spot. Yeah, I can see everyone faded that was on Restream, so you weren't alone.
Yeah. So, well, sorry to keep you guys waiting. Wish I'd thought to go down to do my K-main check in Sealed Cave earlier, but just, after I'd come up out of the underground, I thought, I'll save it. I don't want to walk back down there. Let's go do some checks up on the moon and see what's up there, and just nothing quite panned out.
Well, in the spirit of Friendsgiving, we wanted to ask if you have any thoughts about which characters that you were looking for correlate to which Thanksgiving side dishes.
I would say that Porum is definitely the pumpkin pie of Free Enterprise.
Interesting.
She all full of sweetness, goodness, and just hearty wonderfulness.
And
thoughtful.
something I never want to see at my table.
And
I like it.
And I'd probably put Kane as the green bean casserole, where it's not the absolute essential component, but it really balances things out when it shows up.
Very true. I really like that. Really like that for Kane. Up here in the booth, I was comparing Edward to sweet potatoes with marshmallows because it's garbage, and Possum Morpheus would absolutely eat it up with a spoon.
Yep. Well, I would be remiss not to thank all of you who ran this. Cubs, who I think came in and pinch hit and ran a great show. The two of you running everything as far as the commentary. And I think Death Like Sheep Launcher and Warlink and Cubs are all worth a follow and worth your time to hang out with online. So for those of you who stuck around through this, throw them a follow, watch them stream. It's a lot of fun.
And definitely give Tall Grant a follow as well. Tall Grant, it was so much fun to watch you, and GG's.
No problem. GG's. Hey, Sheep Launcher, you need to stream more often. I haven't seen you enough.
Well, I will. I need to get back to these sweet potatoes with marshmallows.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Good night.
All right. Well, that was but the community race on Free Enterprise 2. We're so glad you joined us once again. Want to thank our tracker Warlink05. Want to thank our restreamer Cubs Rule 21, and thank you to Deathlike, the commentator. We do want to get over. We want to keep this rolling, keep this going. So we want to head over to a newer runner, Gazero1. We want to go ahead and raid them, give them all of our love, and don't forget, the next restream on the Free Enterprise family of networks is Baron Hero's Journey. That will be on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll hope to see everybody there. It always is a great time to go to Baron Hero's Journey. But we'll head over to Gazero 1. But until tomorrow, for everybody here, so long.
Have a good night, and don't spoil this race, or newspapers will fly.